One motion.
We ready? All right. Welcome to the Carlisle Regular Local School Board Meeting, Monday, July 23rd, 2018, at 6 p.m. Mr. Bassler, would you call the roll?
Mrs. Lanehart?
Here.
Mr. Dunkman?
Here.
Mr. Jewell?
Here.
Mrs. McIntosh?
Here.
Mr. Moore?
Here.
Thank you. Would everyone please rise and join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. At this time, we will move to our visitors' comments. And since we don't have any visitors, I guess we will move to the treasurer's report. Mr. Bassler.
Thank you, Mrs. Lanehart. Just a few action items for this month. July is not a big time for stuff on the agenda, but a real busy time in the office. So the first thing is an approval for the minutes from the last regularly scheduled board meeting on June 25th.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Jewell, second by Mr. Moore. If there's no questions, you may call the roll.
Mr. Jewell?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. McIntosh?
Yes.
Mr. Dunkman?
Yes.
And Mrs. Lanehart.
Yes, thank you. Motion carried.
Next, I need approval for the financial report, which is part of your packet. Year end June 30, ended very well, even better than I anticipated it was going to end. As you know, though, I'm very conservative, so I hope it would be a little bit better. But great shape financially. You know, the position that the district has put itself in over the last 5 years is just great. I think we'll be ready to move into a new facility, be able to take on a surprise or two as we move in and be able to handle those situations. But just need an approval right now for the financial report from year end June 30.
I have a motion. Motion by Mrs. McIntosh. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Jewell. If there's no questions, you may call the roll.
Mrs. McIntosh?
Yes.
Mr. Jewell?
Yes.
Mrs. Lanehart?
Yes.
Mr. Dunkman?
Yes.
And Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carried.
And then finally, I need a resolution to be able to add a Roth 403B feature to our tax deferred annuity plan document, which I won't bore you with the whole drawn out thing, but we're adding this as another option for our employees to do a Roth IRA, which is basically contributions that are after tax, not before tax. So need to approval to have this resolution so we can set that up. Just as an option, it's not anything employees have to do, it's just another option for an investment for employees.
Do I have a
So
motion?
moved.
Motion by Mr. Dunkman. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Moore. Any questions? If not, you may call the roll.
Mr. Dunkman?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Lanehart?
Yes.
Mr. Jewell?
Yes.
And Mrs. McIntosh.
Thank you. Motion carried.
That is my report for the month. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we'll move to the superintendent's report. Mr. Clark.
Thank you, Ms. Lanehart. Members of the board, just a couple of non-action updates. Railroad Days, August 17th and 18th, will be down at the Pee Wee Ball Fields. The parade will start at 9 a.m. on Saturday the 18th out of Roscoe Roof. Just so you know, for board members, I'll put out a little sign-up sheet that'll come around just to sign up, do a little time in the booth. Also, we'll have a van available. We'll get you down there. More to come on that. Okay, we're a little ways away from it. From a construction standpoint, just again updating, trying to do that. The best place to see where we're at is on the website in terms of are we on budget and on time, and answer is yes to both of those at this point in time, and we see no reason why not to continue that way. Lots going on. Exterior elevations have been put out here a month ago. We're pushing hard towards design development, which is the next. Now you're starting to get down into the weeds in terms of interior design, what's going on, exactly where doors are, how they open, where the security things are, all that stuff. So we had a couple of big meetings that Bill was involved in with that. I shared you some of the pictures. Right on target. Design development is due August 10th. So, like I said, I think we're right where we need to be. The early site package will start in mid to late August, early part of September. So in that time frame, which is when we'll probably do a groundbreaking type of an event. I won't really know that until we get a little closer, so we know how the DDs went, design development went, and that'll help us to decide that. We've got a couple of things we're going to have to figure out in the short term, and again, I just try to remind people that it won't be as necessarily as smooth as things are right now in terms of where am I parking, where am I going to be, because these fences are going to start going up, the end of August, first part into September, and it's going to change everything. We're going to lose the parking behind the high school, so I've got to know where am I going to put my staff. Spent some time out there yesterday, and today, trying to figure out from the drawings where this fence is going to be, the construction fence is, and so a lot of little pieces there. How does that impact Alden Brown's playground and where that is going to be? So there's some other things that we got to kind of work through yet, but it's moving on and it's moving quickly. If you've seen down below, back 40. The softball field is moving along. I think they've got it, have done their, what do you call it? Grading. Sorry, that escaped me for a minute. The grading of the outfield and getting that all squared away. And they're about ready to start working on the dugouts. The dugouts and the fence will go up. Everything will start coming pretty fast with that. We'll probably wait, I want to say probably towards the end of September, and then they'll slice seed and start watering, and then we'll slice seed again early spring. It's going to be a little thin in the outfield, but it is what it is. You can only grow grass as fast as you can grow it. But we have to have that ready because we're going to lose the varsity softball field at some time in and around Labor Day, within a week or so of Labor Day, I would think. So, so those things are moving along pretty quickly. So with that, that's kind of my quick update.
Yep. Question. Last month we had the construction guys here and the architects, and they basically said that when we do break ground, they're basically ready to start breaking ground.
Mm-hmm.
Is that still on track?
Yes, everything's on time. Everything's going.
Yeah.
Now,
a couple people have said
just make sure you understand the difference. It doesn't mean it's coming up out of the ground. They've got to lay the pad. That's called the early site package.
Right.
So you'll see them start cutting in roads. There's there'll be a lot of things happening.
Yeah.
Relining, rerunning electricity to the stadium so it's not underneath the new building. And there's a lot in that early site package.
Yeah, I think some people got some misinformation because they thought that nothing was going to start until the first of the year, and I said, no, that's not what I recall.
That's when you see bricks and stuff like that, which that's different. That's another package.
Right.
So it's all in segments, but no, there'll be a lot of. Yeah, trust me, they'll notice it by probably the first football game or second one anyway, for sure.
just
they'll
wanna make sure that
notice,
was clarified,
they'll
because I heard
notice the
people
inconvenience.
talking about
Because what'll happen is, we're gonna lose parking
People won't be
in the
able
way
to park
we
where they
park
want to.
normally. It's just gonna be different. And, you know, I just remind people to bear with us, okay? You're in a construction phase, and it is what it is. You know, it's gonna be muddy, it's gonna be, at times, and, but you know what? At the end of the day, when it's all said and done, it'll be a ooh-ah kind of place, so, just gotta keep reminding ourselves of that. All right. Going on to general business, action items. Need approval to accept the lowest bid for the access road. We'll be running around, back by the field, back by the softball, baseball field. It'll attach eventually. We're gonna have to move the Pee Wee scoreboard from the west side to the east side. We'll just kind of go over, but we will do that. That's all actually, the people are doing that for us. So we don't have to do it, but shouldn't be any inconvenience to the Pee Wees or anything. And that's kind of right where that'll attach. So with that, I need approval for item 1A.
Do I have a motion? Motion by Mr. Jewell, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Moore. If there's no questions, you may call the roll.
Mr. Jewell?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. McIntosh?
Yes.
Mrs. Lainhart?
Yes,
Mr. Dunkman?
Yes.
thank you, motion carried.
All right, I need approval for the classified employment in item 2A listed below.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Duckman, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. McIntosh. If there's no questions, you may call the roll.
Mr. Dunkman?
Yes.
Mrs. McIntosh?
Yes.
Mrs. Lainhart?
Yes,
Mr. Jewell?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
thank you, motion carried.
The last action item, item 3, need approval for the supplemental employment of A, B, and addendum C as listed.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Moore, is there a second? Second by Mr. Jewell. If there's no questions, you may call the roll.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Jewell?
Yes.
Mrs. McIntosh?
Yes.
Mr. Dunkman?
Yes.
Mrs. Lainhart?
Yes, thank you, motion carried.
That concludes my section. Short and sweet.
Thank you. This time we'll move to legislative report. Mr. Moore, do we have a legislation report?
Nothing of value to add this month.
Thank you. The CTC had a retreat on June 30th, 2018. Do we have any old business? Any new business? All right, if not, I will need a we have to make a motion, right, to go into?
Yes.
Okay. I need a motion for us to go into executive session for the purpose of treasurer's evaluation. Right.
Second?
Was it by Mr. Jewell? Okay.
First,
Okay,
more a second.
all right, thank you. You may call the roll.
Mr. Jewell?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. McIntosh?
Yes.
Mr. Dunkman?
Yes.
And Mrs. Lainhart.
Yes, thank you. Motion carried.
Time in is 6:21.
Thank you.